It's the epic sequel to the original horror film that terrorized the world. In this film, they up the ante and talk much more. A Quiet Place Part 2, released in 2021 finally, and is directed by John Krasinski, who you may know as Jim Halpert on The Office, but has also directed such films like The Hollers and A Quiet Place. And this film is starring Emily Blunt, Millicent Simmons, Noah Jupe, and Cillian Murphy. A Quiet Place Part 2 picks up right where the original Quiet Place ended. The Abbott family has discovered how they can incapacitate these strange, alien, vicious monsters, and decide to leave their home since all of its resources have been destroyed. So while they're on the run from these super hearing aliens, Marcus Abbott gets injured, and they are taken in by family friend and local survivor, Emmett, played by Cillian Murphy. And it's here where they decide, do they leave the compound that they're staying in, or do they go explore where the strange radio signal is coming from? And just like many second entries into a franchise, or at least the startings of a franchise, we get a splitting of our original group of characters. Regan, who is deaf in real life, decides to go out on her own to try to search for this radio signal so that she can take her hearing aid and do the powerful feedback that really screws with these aliens' brains, while Evelyn decides to stay behind with her newborn baby and her son Marcus, who is injured. And I'll be honest, I was scared when I originally heard that this film was being made, because at the end of the first one, Evelyn just had her baby, which I remember thinking then that it's such a stupid thing to do in a world like this. You don't have children when there are aliens out who can hear super well, because babies will scream and they will cry. So it's like, how is this baby surviving? Seriously. They have a little box that they put it in that apparently is soundproof. I don't know how it is, but it is. It was like The Walking Dead. I only watched up to season 5 of that, but then they had the kid and the baby, and they're like, oh, we need formula for the baby. And I'm like, how is that? How can this baby survive in this world where there are no resources? What the hell? But thankfully it works here in this movie. And I like how much of a continuation this is from the very first film. It picks up literally seconds after where the first film ends. And I remember thinking that the original film had a very abrupt ending, which it did, but I guess that's going to be the style of this franchise going forward, because this film, holy crap, has an abrupt ending. It's got a nice build and a nice climax, but the resolution to it is not there. Literally, climax happens and done. But that's how Krasinski wants to tell this story, and he has a knack for it. However he created this, he's stumbled onto something that is quite entertaining and quite thrilling. Not being able to talk, not being able to scream, you take so many stereotypes and so many tropes of horror films just out of it for you. Because how many horror films have you seen where someone hears a creaking or a scream in their house and they appear from around the shower curtain going, huh? Who's there? What? And then they stumble upon a dead body and they scream their throat out, even though, like, why would you do that? The body is dead. Thankfully, in this franchise, in this film, you take all of that stereotype away, because you have to stay quiet. If you don't stay quiet, you dead. Krasinski stumbled onto something just magical, and it works. And this movie works. It is an honorable sequel to the very first film that I thought was just magnificent. We also build the universe more in this film, where the movie begins on day 1 of when the aliens made first contact with the planet. So you get to see how life was in this small podunk town. People were talking, people were having friends and having conversation, and then all of a sudden this ship crashes, and from out of nowhere, these aliens just appear and start wreaking havoc. And then flash forward to right after the events of the first film. Now, I like the inclusion of Cillian Murphy here. I think he adds a nice little layer to this film where they're stationed out at. It's in this factory where there's this big, like, satellite dish thing that they slide down into so they can talk to each other and whisper to each other, which is what I was saying at the top of this review. There's more talking in this movie, which I guess I kinda liked, because it was like, yes, talk, dialogue, discussion, please. It also did kind of take away from the magic of the very first movie, where there was almost no talking. But that's just a small little nitpick, because, I mean, the dialogue that they have in here, it's building the suspense and building the fear that all of these people have in this world that just doesn't exist anymore. And I also like the purpose of this film and really the message of this film, to where it's about the next generation. It's about the young people taking the reins, taking the power, taking the initiative to do something, to resolve the planet's issues. Kind of like what's going on nowadays in real life with global warming and just care for our world in general. The older generations are like, who cares? But the younger generation's like, you guys are messing up, and I'm going to be the one to pay the price because you're going to be dead. That is the big climax. That's what everything is building towards in this film. Our two children who really were kind of victims in the very first film, where it was the parents who were trying to save them and protect them. Here, the roles are flipped. It's the kids who are trying to save the adults, it's trying to save the parents. And I really like that. It's beautiful symmetry. There's a beautiful little scene at the end of this movie where we see both kids kind of standing their ground, and you can see them just becoming young adults right before your eyes. Krasinski, surprisingly, just has an eye for directing, and I always like seeing actors turn directors, or actors turn to people behind the camera, because I feel like they are so in tune with developing characters and developing story, which is the most important thing when developing a movie, that now they're in the director's chair. Now they're controlling everything, so they're really going to focus on story and character. I really enjoy that. I don't know what his wife did to him, though, because in the very opening scene, when we get our first attack from these aliens, we have a shot with the camera in the back seat of the car, and we watch Emily Blunt driving this car down a road, and she has to stop and put it in reverse because this bus is being taken over and driving right at them, which was practical. She had to stop and turn around, and the bus was right there. And if I was ever interviewing Emily Blunt, I'd be like, so what is a conversation like in real life between you and your husband? Especially on that day. Was he mad at you for some reason to put you into that situation? I'm sure they're just fine. A Quiet Place 2 is a worthy sequel to the very first film, and I want to see 10 more of these things, because this universe is great. I'm going to give A Quiet Place 2 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos, where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. And the next movie we are going to be watching, falling under the theme of Halloween and horror and fun stuff like that, comes a PayPal donation from Henning Kleiss, 3D artist, who recommended the film Knights of Badassdom. I feel like I've heard of this movie, or like I've seen the poster before, but definitely never checked it out. But it's about live action roleplay, right? Something that I've never done, but I've always wanted to do. And yeah, I'm excited to check this one out. And of course, big shout out goes to Henning Kleiss for the PayPal donation, for contributing to this channel, supporting me. I can't thank you enough. I am forever humbled, first time donator. Hopefully we see you a lot more on this channel. Thank you very, very much. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do. Just attach your movie recommendation with your donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, give you a shout out on the channel, and get my review of it published as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, have you seen A Quiet Place 2? What did you think about it? What do you like better? Do you like the original, or do you like the second part? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Knights of Badassdom. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.